We are the Gujarat Technological University. Since its inception over a decade ago, GTU has been empowering young and curating minds to realize their true potential. Over 4 lakh inspired students are enrolled with one of the premier academic universities in India. With more than 450 affiliated colleges in its fold operating across 5 zones of the state, GTU, the International Innovative University, your place to move forward.
Hello everyone, welcome to the video lecture series lecture number 3 of subject Dynamics of Machinery. I am Professor Harshal Shukla, working as Assistant Professor in SNPIT and RC. So I am again coming back with the same chapter. The chapter name is Dynamics of Reciprocating Engine, that is your unit number 2 of GTU syllabus. The content of presentation I have already been told in your previous lecture, lecture number 1 and lecture number 2. Introduction and need of balancing I have covered in lecture number 1. Primary and secondary unbalanced forces I have covered in lecture number 2. Now we are focusing on partial balancing of primary unbalanced forces. Okay, and this is your GTU syllabus. I am again reminding you, we are focusing on single cylinder engine right now. That is only the first part of your GTU syllabus. The second part, multi-cylinder engine, will be coming in the lecture series of next videos. So moving on, let's recall, revise and introduce this topic. Okay, so in the previous lecture we have already dealt with this diagram. Okay, both the lecture series I have discussed about this diagram. Okay, what we concluded from the previous lecture, let's see it. The first thing, only one unbalanced force, that is FVH, is left, and hence there is a need of balancing in reciprocating engine. We see that there are number of forces acting on this reciprocating part, and at the end only we left with one unbalanced force, and thus need of balancing is required in reciprocating part. In video lecture number 2 we discussed about the unbalanced force have 2 components, that is primary and secondary, and the primary component is equals to m omega square r cos theta, and secondary component is m omega square r cos 2 theta by n. We also cleared that in case of moderate speed, the secondary unbalanced force is so small that it may be neglected as compared to primary unbalanced force. So we are not going to deal with secondary force in any of the topic of GTU syllabus. We are only focusing on primary force. So now moving for the primary force, we have the next topic, partial balancing of primary unbalanced forces. Remember, primary unbalanced forces is the topic. We are not going to deal with secondary unbalanced forces. In primary unbalanced force, we are going to do partial balancing. Okay, so before going on, let's see all these figures. Okay, so you have one unbalanced force which have 2 components, whereas we are only focusing on primary, not on secondary. Okay, so what we'll do, first let's take some assumption. Okay, see this m omega square r cos theta. You can see that this may be an horizontal component of a rotating mass. So we are just assuming priorly, let m be a mass on the crankshaft at point C. Okay, this is our first assumption. Let m be a mass on the crankshaft rotating in clockwise direction and making angle of inclination with line of stroke, that is theta. Okay, so we have assumed that there might be a mass m. Okay, so now it's a revolving mass, so there must be a centrifugal force. So centrifugal force will be in which direction? That will be in the outward direction. Okay, now you can see this, the centrifugal force in the outward direction at point C. Okay, this is your m omega square r, that is the formula of centrifugal force. So this is just an assumption that if m be a mass of rotating part in a reciprocating part at point C or at the crankshaft, then m omega square, which is already a primary unbalanced force, can be an horizontal component of that part. Okay, so in the next case what we are going to see is that we have created a case of static balancing. Okay, and we all know that what is in the static balancing. If this is your shaft, one mass is kept or you can say one revolving mass is kept of m kg, we need to balance it. What we can do is we keep a balancing mass opposite in this direction, or you can say on the same axis. Okay, so this is only we are going to do. Okay, so in the next slide, okay, what we created, we created the case of static balancing. Okay, so one balancing mass must be added in the same plane in opposite direction. So we are going to add a balancing mass of capital B with radius of small b. Omega will be same as we have kept in the same shaft. Okay, so omega will be same. To derive partial balancing of primary unbalanced force, we are going to do complete balancing. Okay, so what our theory is, we will try to do complete balancing, but if we fail, then we will go to partial balancing. This is the sequence of deriving partial balancing of primary unbalanced force. Okay, why it is in complete balance? Because this is a static balancing case. Okay, so in the next slide we are going to resolve this force. Okay, as we have done m omega square r, similarly about this balancing mass, the centrifugal force will be b omega square, as omega will be the same. Okay, so in the next slide, this is our balancing mass. Okay, resolution of forces will be one in horizontal direction and one in vertical direction. Okay, so this is our horizontal component b omega square cos theta, because this is the same component theta. Okay, and the opposite force, or you can say the vertical force, will be b omega square sin theta. Okay, so we have just resolved this force of balancing mass capital B. Now we will try to do the calculation part, since this force is opposite in direction with this force. Okay, so what we can do is we can equate both the equations. So b omega square cos theta is equals to m omega square r cos theta. Omega is same, we can cancel out. Cos theta is same, we can cancel out. What we left is b is equals to mr. Let give it equation number 1. Okay, I am just reminding one more thing. M is the mass of rotating part, r is the radius of crankshaft, b is the mass of balancing mass, and small b is the radius of balancing mass, or you can say the radius of gyration of rotating mass. What happened is, actually initially we have one unbalanced primary force m omega square r cos theta. Okay, so in order to balance this, we assumed a mass of m kg in this point at the crankshaft point. Okay, since we assumed this m kg, we got an centrifugal force m omega square r. So to overcome m omega square r, we kept an balancing mass of capital B opposite in direction. Now as we kept balancing mass capital B, we need to resolve it. So we resolved both forces, b omega square cos theta and b omega square sin theta. Now what happened is, since this is the along the line of stroke, this is along the line of stroke, so we cancelled out each other and we found this relation. Okay, so this got balanced. Now we left over with b omega square sin theta. So at the end again we are at the same boat. Okay, we started to overcome this unbalanced force along the line of stroke. Now we have another unbalanced force perpendicular to the line of stroke. So we failed this complete balancing theory. So the inferences from the failure of complete balancing theory are: the first inference, in earlier case the primary force acts along the line of stroke. We know that the primary force was on the line of stroke. Okay, we started to balance it out. So at the end what we got, in the second case the unbalanced force acts along the perpendicular to this line of stroke. We got b omega square sin theta as another unbalanced force. So what is the problem is, the maximum value of force remains same in both cases. At the end we are unable to solve the problem and complete balancing fails here. Okay, so due to complete balancing, the direction of unbalanced force is changed but not yet removed. Hence you can say that complete balancing fails. Since this complete balancing fails, now we'll move to the partial balancing. Since the complete balancing fails, so now we try to do is partial balancing. Okay, for partial balancing, let's say C be the fraction of reciprocating masses. We have M mass of reciprocating, so we are going to just balance C fraction. C fraction means, for example, let M be 100 kg. Okay, so I cannot balance 100 kg fully as the complete balancing fails. So I will try to balance is half %, or you can say 1/2. So C be the fraction half. Okay, this is just an hypothetical situation I gave you. Okay, or an example I gave you. So equation number 1, BB is equals to MR will replace by BB is equals to CMR, because we are going to balance C fraction, or you can say C percentage of the reciprocating mass. Okay, so what will happen? We'll resolve unbalanced force along the line of stroke. Okay, since this was the direction of your primary unbalanced force and this was the direction of BB omega square cos theta, right? So what we'll do, we balance the unbalanced force along the line of stroke. So both are in opposite direction. So what I did, M omega square r cos theta minus BB omega square cos theta. Okay, in place of BB, I am substituting the equation number 2, that is C into M into R. Okay, I am just replacing capital B into B as CMR. Okay, so the equation reduces from 1 minus C into M omega square R cos theta. Here we can take 1 and C as common. Sorry, M omega square R cos theta as common, and we left with 1 minus C. Now we will balance the unbalanced force along the line of stroke in vertical direction. Okay, so vertical direction we have only one component, BB omega square sin theta. Okay, so B and small b will replace by M omega square R. So M omega square R M sin theta is the vertical component. Now what is the resultant force? Resultant force is always under root of horizontal square plus vertical square. Okay, so equals to under root 1 minus C M omega square R cos theta whole square, that is this component, C into M omega square R sin theta whole square, that is vertical component. Okay, so in this M omega square R we can take common because we have both things in the bracket. So M omega square we have taken out of the under root, and left over is 1 minus C square cos square theta plus C square sin square theta. So this is the partial balancing of primary unbalanced forces. Now comes the surprise element, that is the quiz section. Okay, so I have only one quiz right now. The partial balancing means options are partial balancing of revolving masses. It can't be possible. We know that in revolving masses we do complete balancing. Second is partial balancing of reciprocating masses. Yes, this might be option. Let's see the other option. Best balancing of engine, and the last option is all of the above. Obviously this can't be possible. Okay, so all of the above is not there. Best balancing of engine cannot be done. Okay, in case of balancing of engine, the best thing is to do complete balancing. So the right option is partial balancing of reciprocating masses. So this is the quiz section. Now comes the GTU section. So both objective as well as descriptive part I have covered. So the question is, how and why are reciprocating masses balanced in piston cylinder? And the second part is, why reciprocating masses are partially balanced. Okay, the question is asked thrice in your GTU exam. So remember students, this is an important question. Okay, so the first part is, how and why are reciprocating masses balanced in piston cylinder assembly? So this question I have already covered in your video lecture number 1 and 2. Why reciprocating masses are partially balanced is covered in video lecture 3, that is in this lecture. Okay, so please go through it and write it properly. The last thing, okay, so you know that this first two section I have completed in lecture number 1. The second part is primary and secondary unbalanced forces, that I have completed in lecture number 2. Partial balancing of primary unbalanced force I have completed in lecture number 3. Okay, so in the coming lecture series I am going to deliver multi-cylinder engine, or you can say locomotives. Okay, in that I am going to cover what is locomotive, variation of tractive force, swaying couple, hammer blow. So this is coming soon in the next video lecture series. Thank you. Okay, the lecture series I have described sequentially. Lecture number 1, 2 and 3, what portions I have covered I have mentioned here. Okay, you can see this video lecture I have completed, why not complete balancing is required in reciprocating engine. Okay, so the last is our thank you section. Okay, at the end I am going to complete this by quote: before anything else, preparation is key to success, given by Sir Alexander Graham Bell. Okay, so students, use this effective time of lockdown and prepare well. Thank you.